Good evening, friends. This is Arpita here again. So, like yesterday, we talked about relationships, how relationships work and affect our life, and what are love-hate relationships, addictive relationships. Why at all we get addicted to people, so and so person or whatever, and how to make addictive relationships to empowering and enlightened relationships. Okay, these are the few aspects we spoke yesterday. And today, as relationships part 2, we are going to talk about how we deal with our relationships, okay, outside and also inside. Okay, these are the two things we are going to talk today. As we know that relationships are the core thing of our life. Everything is a relationship. It's not just a human to human, or it's between a quality, or it's objects, or anything. How we relate, how are we relating to that particular thing or person or any place or anything. Okay, so relationship is all about. Now we'll have for having a wonderful relationships with the outer world or the people also, and whether it is within the family or to the external world, anybody in sense. Okay, there are 5 steps. Okay, we talk about. The first step is criticism. See, criticism is like it is an inconsistent way of we say and we do. We need to first identify what is this criticism all about. Why do we have a tendency of criticizing others? Criticism is like a self-blame. It is a conflict inside. Okay, criticism shows that what we lack inside. What we lack, maybe you see a person doing very high and very good. There's so many things which we do, and then suddenly we see that and now we see the other person is doing so very fine and so very wonderful, and now you get to understand, you get into a conflict for yourself that you lack this system inside. What the other person is able to do, you are not able to do, you lack. Okay, and to cover on that, you, instead of blaming yourself, blaming as well here for yourself or for others, it's not good. But instead of checking onto your own lack issues, we get into a point of criticizing others, blaming others. Blaming others is like a blaming your own self. Okay, we have to understand that every time we blame others, it is like we blame ourselves. So criticism is something we need to understand. Whenever we are criticizing others, we are actually degrading ourselves. You need to prosecute. You can prosecute that. What is that I'm criticizing about? What is that? If the person is so good or is not able to, maybe the person is trying to put an effort. Maybe, there's like a, person does not know the language, but he has learned the language, is trying to give his best in that language, is forming a sentence, is making a, talk out of it. Instead of appreciating that, we tend to say, oh, it's all funny words they're using. They're not able to speak properly. We get on into criticism. And this criticism is nothing but you are lacking. You could not learn some particular, you don't have the ability of learning, other languages. And now when the other person is doing it, is able to do and learn the languages, you're not able to identify your darkness. Your ego mind is not in the position to accept it, that I lack this. This is the conflict within yourself. Okay, we need to understand that every relationship is a projection. What we reflect inside, whatever we reflect inside, that gets projected outside. So whatever we are seeing outside, we need to understand. If we are criticizing, it is important, very important for us to understand that yes, this quality I do not have inside, and that is what it is making me feel low, because the other person is doing, it is making me feel low. Now it is my my responsibility to accept my lack and appreciate the other person. Okay, as long as you criticize, you can never build up a prosperous relationships. It is always goes lack. It is always it begins a brick. It creates a wall. It helps in constructing a wall between two people. Okay? And now there's something called reaction. Okay, reaction is the opposite of the previous one, what we talked about. Just it's about the criticism. Okay, reaction is opposite. Reaction is it's like a projection. It's like how you respond. Okay, how you are able to understand the nature. It is it can be non-verbal communication. It can be very beautifully, but reaction is something we need to understand. Now, for example, I'll tell you a small story here. Here there were two people. Okay, there was war going on. I think this would be the wonderful example. There was a war going on, and in war, one soldier got hurt and he just fell onto the ground. Okay, and now immediately, because it's a war going on, the other person also got hurt. Other soldier also got hurt, and he also fell on the ground. And the minute he fell on the ground, these two people who fell on the ground are discussing what what you are hit of is of what poison. I heard that this is of this poison and this is of this poison. This would be the scorpion poison, and this could be the snake poison. And they're discussing about what was the poison that was there in the arrow which hit them. Okay, they're discussing on that. And now there was another third person who fell on the ground. Right now, this person, what he did is immediately got up, went to a hospital. Okay, get the first aid, and came back very healthy, and he began again his war. He continued his responsibility. And these two people who were discussing about what was the poison was hit in the arrow, they died. It is the way you respond. Okay, that is what reaction is, the way you respond to a situation. What has to be? Reaction has to be, it should be understanding to the nature. Now it has to be aligned with whatever is happening and what kind of reaction should come into it. Okay, it should be a non-verbal communication. Many times what we do is, when we think that this is not going to work on or anything, we just leave everything and move out. Moving out or avoiding something will not work. If you want a relationship to build up, you can have a non-verbal communication. The communication must go on. Without communication, it could be non-verbal or like a silent communication, whatever. The communication must go on if you want a relationship to be happening. Okay, if you're not interested in the relationship, forget about it. You can absolutely avoid that person, go into silence and block him and whatever, and you move on. But if you want that relationship to happen, always continue the communication in whatever way, in understanding along the nature. Okay, understanding the person nature, you respond as if it's a projection. Okay, it is okay if it is mystical. Okay, it is fine, but still the communication must go on. And now next third point comes. First was the criticism, second is the reaction, and the third point comes as the harmony. Harmony is when people come together to collaborate something, like when two families come together in a marriage, or when people come together and to collaborate a project in the office, this kind of. Now, harmony. When you want to develop in harmony, the first and foremost is have non-violent communication. Wherever there is a violent communication, understand you are not respecting the other person's presence. Okay, we need to understand that, and we need to learn active listening. When there is an active listening, when you listen to a person actively, active listening is not like the person is speaking and you are just there and you heard everything. That's just hearing is not active listening. When you are actively listening it, you are actually understanding the projection and understanding the entire scenario of whatever the making is. You are creating an energy buildup of a harmony. The person's the person must not feel I keep what do you call, I keep sharing my views to this person. This person listens, but what's the point? Whether sharing this person or sharing to the wall is the same. There would be no reaction, there is no response. Okay, this should not happen. It is always like, active listening is where you are bringing a harmony to that moment. Okay, you are aligning. Okay, there is a harmony, there is understanding of whatever is happening. And now always create a common ground. Maybe there is a conflict. Okay, one person is you are thinking that this person is wanting something and you actually are wanting something else. There are two things which are happening, and now you need to have a common ground. You can always come to one point and speak. It's a healthy talk. This is what I actually looking for you. This is what I actually want you to do. Okay, now if that is possible, then we can work together, and this is what I have in mind about you. Okay, what do you say? You can always have an open conversation. Common ground is where two things are very open and how things go on. Sometimes what happens is many people, when they are wanting to collaborate and where they wanting to working on a project in an office, generally this happens. One person don't want to say the other person what actually they are thinking. They always say, let them do whatever they have to do. It is like as if whether you work or you don't work, we are least interested, we are least bothered. Okay, the ideas are always appreciated. Whenever a person is giving an idea, it is appreciated, but the next conversation is never happening. So this person is always in a confusion that whether to go ahead about it or sit in silence. Okay, this is it is not harmony, though it is presented as harmony, but there is actually no harmony in this. Some are very, very intelligent and very clever. They project everything very beautiful. The presentation is so beautiful and wonderful, but inside the darkness, the conflict, the criticism kind, and all the darkness is always there. In this way, relationships will not work. When you want this relationship to happen, there must be a common ground, and there must be a non-violent communication and respecting the boundaries, and always appreciate. What's wrong in appreciating a person? When you appreciate, it is like you are welcoming the thought. When you are welcoming the thought, that means you are allowing the person to make it happen. Now you have to make a way. Okay, these things have to happen. You have to bring a harmony to it, right? And now next point comes as alignment. When it comes to alignment, it is establishing with people who may not share your appreciation. Okay, they may not be, it's like, of its importance. They may feel, to appreciate you is not a big deal. It is not needed. To appreciate you is not needed. Yes, this is your work you did. Why should I appreciate? Okay, they may not. It is like, there are certain category of people when you are working with somebody. There are certain category of people in your work front, or even at the home front also. You may have to get along with people who will never share your appreciation, who will never say you are wonderful or whatever. Or it is not that you need to expect an appreciation, but you need to boost up yourself also to live in life. There is some inspiration is needed, motivation is needed for everyone. It's life, right? It is not wrong. Appreciation is always healthy for a relationship. If you want a person to be in your life all the time, always look into their positive things also, right? Nobody is born perfect, but there is perfection in everyone. Everyone is working towards achieving it. So let us, as a human tendency, as a basic human qualities, let us help each other in uplifting each other. Okay, just by appreciation, right? And now, when alignment is all about a flow, how things are happening. One after this, it's a direct expression. Alignment is a direct expression. This has happened, and now immediately this has happened. Life is it's like a flow. It's flowing on. After this, after this, a person is moving on and attempt to understand. It is like you are even putting all the effort, all the attempt to understand the flow and aligning yourself When you are aligning the person, what is it happening? Whenever you are aligning yourself to the situation or to the person or whatever the work is taken over, you are aligning, you're trying to understand. You're putting all your efforts to understand it and move on, right? That is what alignment is. And at the same time, letting go of things which are unnecessary. There are many people, if they don't want this relationship, they will not let go of what needs to be let go. It's a play. There are many people consciously do that just to play and just to remove a person from their system. They will never let go of their past. They will keep on holding it. Maybe the person has forgotten and then move on, but that other person will continue it. Okay, it is like allowing thing. Allowing is like it is not allow the flow. When life has given you something, you need to allow it. When you block the flow of life will also block you in some or the other point. You have blocked the path of other person's life in their flow. If you have come in front, then definitely the other person also will get blocked in some way or the other, because and when it comes to relationships, everything is a projection. You have reflected and projected something onto the other person, and the same thing will get projected onto you, reflected back to you in some or the other situation. Okay, so always understand, relationships is all about how well. It's not about whether you have mastered something in life, you have read scriptures, mastered this experience and that experience, spiritually you have grown very high. That is not very important. How well you have become a human is all about. How well you manage your relationships around is all matters. Okay, and now the fifth point comes compassion. Compassion is a seamless way. I'll tell you a beautiful story I read long back on internet itself. There's a story about a king who wanted to go on for a ride for a touring, some place, and he wanted to visit that place because of nice cool weather and all. He wanted to be there for a while and then get back. And in the process, he said to the ministers and everyone, I want to, go make all the arrangements so that he would go and live there for a while. And then all the arrangements have been made, who along will, accompany the king. Every list is made, all the preparations have done. And the last day has come, the day where the king is supposed to begin his travel journey towards its chosen destination. And now, as he was coming up, there was a soldier who was shivering, standing beside the chariot, where not chariot, but the king was supposed to to carry, right? And then he was shivering where the vehicle was about to start. The king's vehicle was about to start, and he was standing beside, and he was shivering. And now suddenly everyone realized what is happening. Why is he shivering? Then he actually forgot to put a blanket into the chariot of the vehicle of the king where he was supposed to travel, and because king has planned to go to a very cool place, the blanket is needed. And now it is a big offense. A king has ordered something and something has not happened perfectly. It's a great offense on that point of time, those earlier days. And now that's the reason king might punish him, that the fear which crippled him and he was shivering. And now the king has come. And immediately there was, the soldier's head and the administration, the ministers and everyone, they have identified that this mistake has happened. But they could not say anything because the king was already out. And as king was, getting onto his vehicle, he just turned back and began to talk to the minister about whatever the country issues, whatever the issues you have to. The minister was not able to understand all these things we have already discussed. Why the king is already again discussing the same thing? And in the meanwhile, what happened is the soldier ran inside, because the king was, took the minister from there, took a little long walk, and he was talking the same things. In the meanwhile, the soldier ran inside, brought the blanket and put it in his vehicle, stood firmly. Now the immediate king has come back, and they said, yes, let's begin the journey. And then as the journey was going on, the soldier's head, whoever was there, the Senadipati, what they say in Telugu. Okay, he has looked at the minister and said, "What has happened?" Suddenly, what happened to king, that he took you to a long walk, and he was speaking. And then the minister said, "It's okay, it's understood." And he has forgiven the soldier. It is like, the king has come, he has observed, immediately has come, the king has observed the blankets were not put, and the situation, immediately he has understood it, and he took the minister, so that little time has been given to that soldier. Okay, compassion is like a seamless way, right? And while the talk was going on, he knew that, the blanket has come back, and once that is over, he came back as if nothing has happened. So that the soldier, then he's also accompanying in a wonderful journey along with the king. Nothing should go against the harmony, right? It's a compassion. Compassion is like, smooth and without making it obvious. It's very smooth. It's a seamless way, right? And the first thing is, for this compassion, you need little tolerance. You need patience. Okay, you need to be forgiving nature. You need to be unconditional. Yes, little ruthlessness also is needed. But then after all this tolerance, this patience, that being unconditional, all these aspects has come. Okay. Relationships is a complete understanding of human interactions, from darkness to light, from ignorance to, intellect, wisdom, from internal to external. Transformation is the only thing which transformation it includes conflict resolution also, right? Transformation is not something where you cannot say that I have transformed and internal conflict is still not resolved. It is the resolution also. Okay, and always the human interactions, whenever you are interacting with people, and whoever it is from within the family or external family or soul family, whatever family you name it, you may feel a person like a family, being maybe a friend, a childhood friend, but still you may feel as a family. Whoever you are giving an importance to a person, then always, if you are giving importance to a person, any person from anywhere coming into your life, always understand the criticism, the harmony and reaction and alignment and compassion. All these 5 steps has to be understood. I'll go along with these 5 steps. And whenever we are relationships, it is relationships with the time. We think and speak about time. We always say, there's a time. We talk about a time. That time this has happened. This time that has happened. We so much think about and speak about time. But how are we relating to that time? Is it, sad, or is it happy? Is it joyful? It is compassionate? It is love completely? And what is it? Always have a schedule. Give importance to the time, because we are in the 3-dimensional plane where time and space, everything comes into consideration. So we need to have a schedule for everything. Give importance to the time. Be one-pointed in actions. Whenever you are doing an action, be there. Okay, don't be somewhere else. You are acting this, but you are thinking somewhere else. You are being somewhere else. In that, it's not a complete way. You just be one-pointed. Always appreciate and accept the moment the way it is. That's the best way. And when we are the relationship with the space, it is a relationship with the time. Whenever you are connecting to a time, a particular situation happened, always appreciate it and accept it, the moment, the way it is. Okay, be one-pointed. Be at that completely. Understand about it. Okay. Now the relationship you have with the space, maintain a sense of identity. Space is all about the thing which talks about your identity. Your presence, your value, that space gave some identity to you. So always have gratitude. It's like help in spending time with yourself. That particular space. So that particular space has given some time to spend time with your own self, or maybe with your friends, your family, anybody. Okay, improves this. All these things improve the relationship status also. It helps in nurturing the emotional aspects. There are so many things that comes up, And it is like, no more space means no more more arguments. Whenever you are not giving a person a space, you are always welcoming arguments. And end of the day, you say, because you are this mentality, and now we are avoiding you. But you created that space for that person. You have not created any space which has no arguments, but you have created a space which can give birth to more arguments. So we need to understand that. And whenever it is coming to relationships, all these points comes into consideration. And now silence, how you are, your relationship with your own silence. Silence is all about assuming. When you have to assume about something in your own silence, better assume it the best way. Assuming the best about it. Okay, always be, this helps in being positive all the time, right? And now sometimes, silence works as a treatment. When you give yourself complete time about silence, it will heal you. The silence has the capacity to heal yourself. Give yourself that time. It might take any lengthy time, 3 years, 4 years, whatever, related to that pain or whatever, but always remain in that silence. Okay, and silence takes over when nothing is left to say. All is said, all is done, and now nothing is left to say. Then the silence is taken over. It is like two people are shutting down. That's when the silence takes over. Silence can be responsive or it can be destructive. So reaction, what I talked about previously, the 5 steps, when we are talking about the second step, reaction, it must be responsive. Any relationships, if you want a relationship to happen, always be in the communication mode. Silence might mean there is nothing left to say, and you are shutting down. Okay, it can be responsive, it can be destructive. Okay, what is that you want to close off that relationship just because at that moment you are feeling angry? Okay, after that anger thing goes off, all vanishes or dissolves, now you may feel something different. Okay, that moment, even if you have taken a decision, again immediately get back. It is okay, maybe you are right, but still you get back because you want that relationship to happen. It is not about because that relationship is important, it is an addictive relationship or anything. It is the human interactions. With any human in the world, always have the best interactions. Let you reside in everyone's memory as the best person possible you met in the world. Right? Even if you have not created any space about the best of you, at least let people don't carry an odd impression about you. This little for ourselves we can as well do. Okay, always apologize, forgive and forget. The minute you have forgiven, always remember you have also forgotten. Right? And when it comes to our relationship with objects, now we have understood relationships of human interactions. Now we have understood relationships with time, with space, and with silence. Right? Now we are understanding relationship with worldly objects. Now how things affect you. It is a link to material to spiritual, where body as mechanism. Okay, when it comes to emptiness, the first point we talk here about emptiness. When it comes to emptiness, it is like focus on what is useful of that emptiness. Use the unreal, to cultivate the real. Right? Now, when you are sitting and closed with your eyes closed, and you are going very deep, and when you go deep inside you, there's so many things about you may understand. You may get into the thoughts, maybe happened some past regarding your past or your future, or whatever situation you have gone through, which will be painful situations or very joyful situation. You might have come across many situations in life so far, and when you are sitting in your own silence, you may connect to all the thoughts. Now witness those thoughts. Witness all the emotions which are connected to those thoughts, which are actually triggering those thoughts even more higher, more vibrantly, more lively. Okay. Now all these things are at that moment are unreal. Right? All that moment, because this has already happened. Now for that moment, all these are unreal now. And now, how do you cultivate the real? Now make the situations the way you want it to happen. Okay, had it been this way, okay, now the past is over, the things have happened, now you have again remembering it, and it is, the story is running in you again, and you are very deeply involved into it. Your entire system, as a body, as a mechanism, your entire system is there in that, at that moment. Now this is unreal for that moment, out externally, outwardly in the real world, but from inside the world, that is still going on. Now make this unreal, you cultivate it towards happening real thing, happening it the way you want it. Okay, you can change anything the minute you change. Say for example, you are seeing, and you have seen one person has betrayed you and abused you, their words or whatever. There's so many things have happened, and now the minute you enter into the other person's perception in the shoes, because inside you there is nobody outside, everything is you. The other boat is empty, it is always you. And now when it is you, you can put yourself there also and here also. Okay, and bring the changes so that the entire situation is perfectly understood. Let your consciousness, cultivate the consciousness, cultivate the real now. Make the thing so real that you are able to change it as if it is happening now. Okay, this little, when you do, there are so many unseen things which, when the situation has happened, actually there might have so many things which you have never noticed, which went unnoticed all the time, and all these things will come across. All these things will slowly come out and make it happen, and now the realization begins. And now attention. After emptiness is all about focusing on useless things, and making it very useful, cultivating it, making it very useful, right? And now the next point comes as attention, right? When it comes to attention, it is a method of preparation before engaging into anything, before engaging in material pursuits or whatever, which are material things. When you get into it, is the attention. It is a method. When you are completely in focus of one thing, your attention is completely there, you are preparing it, right? Whenever a person, you might have seen, the engineers, they're making so many things, technical things, they're putting, all this electric engineers, when they create a thing, their complete attention is there, the complete focus is there, right? It's a method of preparation. Any attention is a method of preparation. Before you understand it completely in the material form, is whatever way it is happening, it is the preparation, method of preparation which you are trying to understand, which you are understanding. Everything is there, you are preparing everything perfectly. That is the attention. Yes, attention, now prepare everything. No, it's a method. Any attention is a method of preparation. And now coming to the knowledge. Knowledge is like, it's towards the dynamic wisdom. Knowledge is not completely wisdom. Knowledge is something you have known, but yet you have not experienced it. Okay, so knowledge is, it's towards the dynamic wisdom from living your life. It's like it's not like words found in books. Okay, you have found a book, in a book you saw self-realization. Okay, and now self-realization, you are so excited about that word. I've heard just now, what is the self-realization, what is the self, and what is that I need to realize about the self? Okay, there's so many questions which have come up. This is like knowledge you are acquiring, you are listening from here, you are listening from there, and everything. And now that will next towards the dynamic wisdom. And what is the wisdom? From self-realization to self-actualization. Realization is where you have known about a thing. Now actualization is, you have authentified. There is an authentication. Have you really realized? Have you really you think that whatever you have realized is absolutely true in your case? Okay, inside me, I might have seen, actually I've realized that there is so much of darkness in me. Okay, but when you go into a process of understanding and living into that, all the darkness, it will actualize, and all the darkness comes out as a light. Okay, this is the towards the wisdom. And when you experience it with the knowledge, with through the glass of to the lens of knowledge, when you see a thing, when you see a life situation, that turns out to be a wisdom. Okay, you need to understand the difference between knowledge and the wisdom. So wisdom, if before it comes to a wisdom, it is important for us to understand about that. Have we not heard the words, we could have not worked on it, could have not known it, and we could have, without knowing it, it is difficult for us to experience it also. Okay, to taste jalebi, first we need to hear the word jalebi and then know it, that this is this how the jalebi looks, and then you experience it and now you know it thoroughly. Okay, what you heard, what you saw, everything matches. Okay, this what comes. And now next is the acquisition. Acquisition is working on excessive greed. Okay, it is healthy beneficiary prosperity. It is a very healthy, whenever there is a greed, the opposite polarity of the greed is abundance. You are allowing the abundance. Okay, but if the greed is unhealthy, it disturbs the flow of life. Acquisition is like, I'll tell you, it's like how you are learning through an experience, how you are learning a thing, and then how you are using it to transform your own quest for worldly success, or whatever it is. Okay, it is like acquisition is, I want to be that, I want to be that, I want to have all these things, I want to be a landlord, I want to earn so much money. All these factors are there, or you have acquired everything, whatever you wanted, you acquired. But how are you feeling with whatever you have acquired? Okay, whatever you have acquired, how you are feeling? Are you feeling I want it more? It's never enough. You wanted more and more and more and more, and all you are becoming attached to all these things. Or whatever you have acquired, you're seeing it and you're feeling good about it, but then yet you have no attachment towards it. Okay, always transform it. It is okay to be greedy, because the greed is the initial thing of wanting something. It's love for wanting something. I want it. But after an extent, when it becomes into healthy greed is good, but unhealthy greediness will again spoil the flow of your life. Okay, always understand that. And the next point comes of detachment. Right? When it comes to detachment, it is like being free from the fear before you claim, the true mastery. Either it is self or wealth, whether it is gain or loss. Okay, I'll give you a beautiful, story about a detachment where I heard before. There was an army person who had been traveling, because of army people, they keep traveling because of the position, the working things and all, transferred every place. So wherever place he went, from that place, a person had a habit of buying something as a remembrance, as a memory of so and so place. So in that way, all through his life, wherever he traveled, okay, he bought something and he, decorated his house. And after certain period of time, after his retirement, every day he used to look into these things, and he used to feel so good, and he used to, memorize, oh, this I bought it there when I was working there for so and so thing, so and so thing. It was a beautiful memories which he was collecting. Okay, it went on. He always kept it very clean and neat and everything. And suddenly one day, as he was, there was a flower vase which was there, and it was so antique and unique thing. And as he was cleaning everything, suddenly it slipped his hands, and before it completely fall on the ground, he held it so strongly close to himself. And then in that moment, he realized, when the enemies, because being the army man, when the enemies were standing in front with bullets in front, I never felt this fear. But with this little thing, I faced very courageously. I faced all the situations. But when this verse was falling down, What is that fear which gripped me? It is the attachment. It is the attachment of losing something that got gripped. And that moment he realized, maybe all my life, what I did courageously, this one moment, I feel like I lost it all. And then he simply took a deep breath and slowly allowed it to fall down and broke off. Okay, that is what detachment is. Detachment is not, directly, not like, leaving everything and moving on. It is about, detachment is, you are in the point of, in the midpoint of, neither you are attached nor you are detached. Okay, you are like the drop of the lotus leaf on the lotus leaf. How the drop of water stands on the lotus leaf. It's just like that. Detachment is that state. You are there, yet you're not attached to it. Right? This is how it is. Like gain or loss, what do we choose? In every loss there will be a gain. In every self there will be a wealth. In every wealth there is a self. Okay, we need to understand that and understand it. Move into the you are becoming free from that fear. Before you claim mastery, you have to, before you say this is mine, whatever was clinging, whatever, make yourself free from whatever thought which is actually cropping from the emotion of fear. Okay, these things have to happen. And now when it is coming to, it is about our relationships with the worldly objects, every object. It could be books, it could be knowledge, it could be whatever you have, property you have acquired. It could be something empty, it could be an empty space, or your attention, or your detachment to things, attachment to things, anything. And now we have understood about the human interactions, what are the steps we need to follow. And now when it comes to only self, we understand that relationships is all about, it's like a reflection. Whatever is inside, that is what will be outside. Now, when it is coming to the self completely, only self, you have to understand the 7 steps. There's a mirroring happens. At that moment, what has happened? One particular moment can, drain you all your day. That one particular moment, because you could not handle, can drain you all your day and spoil all your day. So always, every moment, try to be there. It's not like trying to be there. You have to be there at that moment and accept the moment the way it is. Witness it, whatever has happened. Don't allow the moment to take over you. Rather balance it, accept it and balance it. Okay. And now sometimes, we might have seen our parents or, somebody saying, these people are good, these people are bad. And we kept on hearing all these things. And that turned as a judgment in our minds. So we began to judge the same way. In this way, it's like criticism. The same judging and blaming also goes the same way. We need to understand, we need to apply our own common sense now. It is okay. It could be because of their part of experiences. They might have experienced something, welcoming way. That's the reason they feel there. I don't have to feel that. Okay. You are changing the perception. Okay. When you are changing the perception, your relationship with yourself, okay, on that particular situation is transforming and moving in a most wonderful way. Right. And now maybe, sometimes there is another mirror we see when you have grown in an atmosphere as a child by seeing with an, very physically violent father and, very submissive mother. And, you've grown up in that kind of atmosphere. You tend to accept that, this is how life is going to be. And now, after I get married, this is how even I need to be. So the boy will reflect exactly how the father behaved, and the girl will reflect exactly how the mother behaved. Okay, we tend to believe that actions as a child, because parents are creators for every child. They feel the first woman they see is the mother, and the first man they see is the father. So they are like creators. They're creators. Our parents are our creators. So whatever they have presented in the drama of life, every child tends to take everything as it is and understand life in the same way till they come to a level of understanding the expanded consciousness. They grow well and understand things in a different way. It depends on how well they are connecting with everyone in the world. Okay. And then sometimes, there is some pain, some trauma which has happened in your life, and some betrayal has happened. Somebody whom you love the most has betrayed you, or whatever reason, the perception is there inside you because of the experience in whatever way you have perceived. And now the trust issues begin to crop up. Right? The trust issues, you can never trust any human being. And when you don't have any trust on any person, it brings incompletion in intimacy with any in a relationship also. Okay, so we need to work on with ourselves. The relationship with ourselves is to be so wonderful and so beautiful. Okay, sometimes probably, you might see the things are, going so wonderful in life and very happy. There is no pain, no trauma, nothing, and things are going absolutely fine. And suddenly you see there was a loss. As a one night miracle, what you had or what you thought everything was there, suddenly you said nothing is there. There was an accident probably, and all the, there was a loss in your financial crisis and your relationships or everything. So many things have happened. And now you have to again begin yourself from the scratch. Okay. It is like the stage from complete darkness has taken over. From there to complete brightness, how you have traveled. Okay. It's the relationship within yourself. That aspect in you, the darkness in you has taken over. Now, how wonderfully you are moving on to the brighter side. Okay, everything has to be understood. You have to realize the relationship is nothing but what you are. The relationship with yourself is so important. And now comes the ultimate thing where all the relationships are dependent on how much love you have for yourself. Right? Whenever you have love for yourself, say for example, if you feel I don't accept this body is so fat or so thin, or I'm dark, I'm not fair enough, all this funda, you get into all these things. It's okay. There are some people who will never understand the value of this physical structure also. They keep on dumping something or other because there is some lack, some unworthiness inside. To mask that, they keep on dumping that from outside. Either they go for continuously shopping for something and they fill it with something or the other external things. They keep on eating and they bring into obesity things. There's so many things that happen. So we need to first understand that, do I love myself the way I am? When I'm in love with myself, I cannot hurt myself. I cannot disrespect whatever way I am. I respect my personality. I respect my quality I hold in. I respect my word. Okay. Now, when I respect myself and I love myself so much, I would always give the same expression to everyone, because I love so much. I do not want other mind to have an impression wrongly about me. It is not that because you love yourself, that does not mean you keep on liking everyone in the world. It is because the feeling is there. I am so good to myself, because you are living that essence that you are so good to yourself. Nobody in the world can have an image or impression in their mind about you that you are not good enough. Okay, when you are talking about yourself, always understand what are your best qualities. Always write it down. What are your best qualities so far? What are the things which you love to talk about yourself when it is talking about yourself? Generally, what happens when we say that, tell me something about yourself? I'm fine, I'm good, so and so. That's all. Hardly 2 sentences or 3 sentences. Because we have been taught not to talk about yourself big. It is okay. If not me, who else is going to talk about myself? If not me, who else is going to stand up for myself? Okay, it is you all the time. Okay, always understand that how much love and respect you hold for yourself, the same thing you apply, you express outside for everything. Have gratitude for this physical body. It is holding your essence. It is allowing it is because of the body, and particularly in this the physical realm, it is because of this body the essence inside you is able to express itself, right? When you are joyful, it is through your body you express. When you are sad, it is through your body you express it. How will you understand the word expression if this body is not there? Value your mind, because it holds so many thoughts inside you about yourself, about your situation, about others, or anything. Okay, always try to have the positive things. If something is worrying you and taking you away from loving you, leave that thought for a while. You just tell that thought, I do not want to know. You can always say, I do not want to know, because that particular thought and that particular emotion is going to keep me away from appreciating myself. I cannot appreciate myself when I'm holding a blame or some grudge on about others in my mind. That is not appreciable. You hold a grudge on somebody and it is not appreciable. So you need to work on all these things. Stay connected, be aware. Every relationship comes as per the awareness. The more you are aware of about your own self, whether your expressions, your body language, your thought, your emotions, okay, invisible and visible, everything, that shows how well you are connected with yourself, right? So friends, we have understood about relationships completely. One is relationship with the human interactions, how we interact. That is, the points comes as criticism, reaction, harmony, alignment, and compassion, right? And now when it is coming to the relationship with the worldly objects, talked about emptiness, attention, knowledge, acquisition, and detachment, right? And now when it is coming to the relationship with time, relationship with space, there is so much of non-violent communication and non-verbal communication. But when you want a relationship in your life with a particular person, with a particular thing, then always be communicative. Communication only will bring, the way you communicate only can make the relationship vibrant. If you are numb and you don't want to communicate, that itself says that, I don't want you in my life. Okay, always understand communication, proper and healthy communication is important. It's not about reaction, it is about be responsive, okay, all the time, right? And relationship within yourself, for yourself. One is how you, at that moment, what is happening, understanding the moment, accepting the moment. Now about the judgments and the creator, how we have understood the our parents, and how the reflection of the parents has made your life understand. Okay, and what you're about the lost love, what some betrayal issues and trust issues have come up, and about how much from the darkness to the brightness, how you have from the scratch, how you made yourself, appreciate yourself. And then comes the self-love, how much ever you love. These are the 5 aspects we have understood about relationships. So the only thing, the relationship, all about the self and how you're relating to everyone, how you're expressing yourself, whatever you are inside. It is internal to external. Okay, always understand every relationship, every person who is standing in front of you is reflecting what you have projected, what is inside you is projecting. The other person is projecting whatever is the projection of about the other person is there, which you are seeing is nothing but the reflection inside which is there of that aspect. Always understand and grow and have a healthy and enlightened and radiant relationships. Okay, friends, thank you so much for being. And tomorrow again at sharp 7 o'clock, we'll meet with a new topic. Thank you, friends. See you all soon tomorrow at 7 p.m. Thank you.